morning, Kings. Welcome to chapel this morning. I hope that you are having a fantastic week, whether you are with us on campus and watching chapel in your home group, or if you are signed into your home group and still in your bedroom or your living room or your kitchen, somewhere in your home, watching chapel this morning. We have another episode of the ToKnight Show for you to enjoy with Student Council. And this morning we have the privilege of hearing from Pastor Paul Taylor from Peninsula Bible Church in Palo Alto. He has a fantastic message for you to enjoy. So have a great morning, enjoy chapel, and have a wonderful time in your home groups afterwards.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the ToKnight Show with Student Council.
And we're your hosts, Josiah Bartel.
And I'm Zach Fisher.
And we're here to give you guys a few updates and hopefully a few laughs.
Hello, I'm Mr. Nisbet, Operations Director here at the King's Academy, and we just want to say welcome back to school. We've been missing you and we're excited to have you back. As we come back though, we have to remember that we need to be part of a team. If you've ever been a part of a sports team or even been on a group project, it's really important for everyone to do their part. This is really what we're talking about when we're coming back to school. The things we need to remember that are really important in this time of COVID-19 are to keep your space from each other. That's 6 feet apart from each other. Make sure that you cover your face with your face mask, and that you wash your hands as often as you can with soap and water. That's really important. And also, if you're feeling sick, to definitely stay home and be a part of the team that stays home if you're feeling sick. So the way I think about it, space, face, hands, and home. So thank you for remembering all those things as we come back to school, and we'll be a part of a team and make our campus safe. Thank you.
Sorry, just wanted to make sure we were social distancing. As you all know, hybrid systems have officially started back this week. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see my friends. But I'm sure there's some other mixed feelings about it.
I don't know about you guys, but I cannot wait to go back to school. I can't wait to see some of my teachers, like Miss Park.
Don't you mean Mrs. Park?
Oh, that's right. I meant the other Miss Park. My bad.
I see. Anyway, here's a segment we like to call Park, Park, or Park. How well do you know your Anatomy Park, English Park, and Bible Park?
realize how many missed parts there were. Oh, shoot, I almost forgot about the costume submissions.
Oh yeah, this weekend you might happen to be wearing a costume. If you do, make sure to send it in to the TKA Student Council Instagram page at tka.stuco for a chance to be featured on the ToKnight Show or on the TKA Instagram.
Even if you guys aren't going to turn in a picture to the Student Council Instagram, make sure to join it. It has a lot of valuable information and updates on school events.
That's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching the ToKnight Show with Student Council.
See
you next week.
Washes my guilt away. Amazing grace. Sing Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious then that grace appeared, the hour I first believed. Amazing grace, amazing grace, covers my sin, washes my guilt away. Amazing grace. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Amazing grace, amazing grace, covers my sin, washes my guilt away. Amazing grace. Let's sing that again. Amazing grace, amazing grace, covers my sin, washes my guilt away. Amazing grace. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less taste
Well, hello. Thanks for having me here. It's really great to be with you all here at King's Academy. My name is Paul. I'm one of the pastors at Peninsula Bible Church in Palo Alto. I've got 3 children here as high schoolers at the King's Academy. If you know them, please make sure to make fun of them for me. I'll do my best to embarrass them during this talk. I want to talk about technology today, and I want to talk about some of the ways that technology has changed our lives and how we as Christians can interact with technology well. I want to talk about this amazing invention that has allowed people to go new places, to meet new people, to do different kinds of things than ever before. It's opened up job possibilities that never existed, and it's changed the way you spend time with other people. That innovation is, of course, the washing machine. This is one of the most significant technological innovations of the past 150 years. Listen to this quote from somebody in the comment section of a TED Talk about the washing machine. "My mother bought our first washing machine in September 1952. We were a poor family living in inner London, and my mother spent most of the weekend washing our clothes in the bathtub until that autumn day. Shortly after the washing machine arrived, my mother got herself a job at a local school. Last year, she was commended for 25 years of continuous service in that school. Since retirement, she has become an activist for older people's services in her borough." Technology changes so much about our lives, changes so much about how we experience, what we can do, how we interact with the world. You all are in a series right now called Refocus, the elements of the faith. And I'm going to talk about technology and how we can refocus it, but I know that you've heard a lot of dangers of technology. You've heard a lot of people talk about how hard technology can be, how bad it can be, how it can disrupt us. But I want to talk about how we might be able to redeem technology. How as Christians, we might be able to see how God originally created us to use technology and what it might look like to avoid some of the pitfalls of technology, but to redeem it for God's purposes. So we're going to talk about the purpose of technology. We're going to talk about what the gospel has to do with technology. And I'm going to give 3 practical suggestions for how you might be able to redeem technology in your life. First of all, let's think about what technology is all about. What's the purpose of it? I gave a talk, I think about a year and a half ago in middle school. Some of you may have been there, called Created to Create. And I know you probably remember it word for word, but I'm going to go over it anyway. See, we need to understand how technology fits into God's plan for the world. Let me read a verse in Genesis that helps to make this clear. This is Genesis 1:27-28. "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, 'Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth.'" This is where God originally created people, and he gave us our charge, our reason for being, and helped us to understand what it is that we were supposed to do on this earth. We're supposed to represent God to his creation. And the way I like to say that is that we were meant to be as God to his creation. God created this incredible world, and he put us as his image so that we might rule over this creation. We're to be like God to the creation he has made. We're not to be God, that's very clear, and there's always the temptation to replace God rather than represent him. But we are called to be like him to his creation. We rule over creation as we serve God. Now, technology is something that we've created that helps us to do that in better ways. Technology makes us smarter, it makes us stronger, it makes us more powerful. It enables us to rule over God's creation to a higher degree. Now, let's think about what technology is. Here's my definition for technology. Technology is something we create. It's a man-made thing that extends our natural capabilities. It allows us to do more than we could without it. That could be a thing. It could be a hammer that allows us to pound nails more effectively than using our fists. It could be something abstract like government or currency that allows us to interact with other people in society in a way that accomplishes more, that builds a greater good than without those structures. So technology is anything that we create that extends our capabilities. And the reality is that technology has made this world a better place. I mean, you're watching me now through the benefits of modern technology. Think about all that technology has done. Here's a not comprehensive list. The wheel, 3500 BC. Think about life before the wheel. All those square bicycles. I mean, that's just really painful. The nail in 3400 BC. A lot of you have been to TKA. Imagine building houses without nails. What would that be like? The nail is a critical invention. The compass in 1050 BC, allowing us to find our way. The printing press in 1440 AD, being able to disseminate information. The steam engine in 1781, the camera in 1826, antibiotics in 1928 have saved so many lives. The refrigerator in 1927, the computer in 1936, and then the public internet in the 1990s. All of these were pieces of technology that we as humankind created that extended our capabilities, and they have allowed us to be better capable at our jobs of stewarding God's creation. They have made us fulfill God's purposes for us to a higher degree. It's a gift from God. Today's technology is no different. Smartphones, social media, video camera, internet streaming, all of this has the potential to allow us to do God's work in his creation. So I don't want you to be afraid of technology. The point I want to make here is that we were created to create. This is something that God has given us, the ability to create something that extends our capabilities. So there's nothing bad about technology. There's nothing inherently dangerous about technology. This isn't something that we have to be afraid of. This is part of what God has called us to do. And yet, we also know that technology has some dangers, that sometimes we can fear the effects that technology can bring. You've heard a lot of talk about those problems, about how it gives us shorter attention spans, about how it fractures relationships, it makes us lonely or anxious. I want you to look at this cartoon. This is a cartoon from Worrying Trends, a magazine from 1906. Look at these two people. These are two people, and the caption reads this: these two figures are not communicating with another. The lady receives an amatory message, and the gentleman some racing results. If you don't know the word amatory, don't feel bad. I had to look it up myself. Basically, they're flirting over the telegraph. And the worry is that this has destroyed their ability to communicate with each other, which of course we know nothing about, right? Nobody flirts on the internet. Nobody sends amatory messages. Nobody receives what this gentleman received, some racing results. This was a big concern in the early 1900s. What is the telegraph going to do to the way we communicate? We have those same exact concerns today. In fact, listen to this. Going further back, this is from an essay published in 1867. There has been much complaint of late years of the growth, both in the world of trade and in that of intellect, of quackery, and especially puffing. But nobody seems to have remarked that these are the inevitable fruits of immense competition, of a state of society where any voice not pitched in an exaggerated key is lost in the hubbub. Success in so crowded a field depends not on what a person is, but upon what he seems. More marketable qualities become the object instead of substantial ones. And a man's capital and labor are expended less in doing anything and then in persuading other people that he has done it. Our own age has seen this evil brought to its consummation. Now again, if you're not familiar with what quackery is or puffing, I had to look that up too. What this is people who seem like experts, and this person is bemoaning the state of the world where people spend more time trying to look good than actually being good. They spend more time trying to appear knowledgeable or appear successful than actually being successful. This person is writing from 1867, saying the same things, having the same concerns about technology that we have today. So yes, there are concerns with technology. Technology has always caused problems all throughout the history of the world. But this is where the gospel comes in. Because if we are followers of Jesus, if we believe in the gospel, then we don't run from problems. We don't say, oh, there's a danger there, we're not going to go there. We know something that not everybody knows. We believe in the power of redemption. We believe in the power that something good can come from something bad. And we believe in God's goodness, that through that, he can redeem anything. Listen to this verse from Genesis 50, verse 20. As for you, this is Joseph speaking, he says, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive, as they are today. See, Joseph knew that something bad was out there, but that God could turn it into something good. That's redemption. The Apostle Paul says something similar in Romans 12, verse 21. He says, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. See, this is the basic story of the gospel. The gospel is about redemption. The gospel is about good overcoming evil, not by just being stronger, but by actually moving through the evil and coming out on the other side to good. This is what Jesus did. When Jesus died, the worst thing that could ever have happened, happened. God, who became man, was killed. The creator of life suffered death. But from that worst thing came the best thing. Because of Jesus, the worst possible thing happened, and the best possible good came of it. That's the story of the gospel. So if we believe that, if we believe that the death of Jesus can give us life, that his pain becomes our salvation, if we believe that, then we can believe that even technology can be redeemed for God's purposes. Technology can be used for good. And we as Christians have that task then of figuring out, what does that look like? How do we redeem the stuff that we interact with every day and use it for God's purposes? If we live in an age of quackery, then what does it look like to turn that around to use for God's purposes? The verse of the week this week, I was told, is 2 Corinthians 9:15. Thanks be to God for his inexpressible gift. This is, of course, the Apostle Paul talking about salvation, about God's work in offering us life, offering us eternal life like we couldn't even have imagined apart from God. But there's a lot of gifts that God gives us. And we want to think about how technology can be a gift in our lives. So I'm going to make 3 practical applications for you, 3 suggestions that you might be able to use in terms of changing the way you interact with technology, redeeming it for God's purposes. We're going to focus on social media as a little subset of technology because it's something that we're all familiar with, because it's something that sometimes is talked about very negatively. But we're going to think about social media and think about how we could use social media as a form of technology for God's purposes. First, we could use social media as a tool for spiritual growth. social media can actually be used by you to enable and accelerate your spiritual growth. Some of you may have seen this film recently, The Social Dilemma. And this film looks at the algorithms, the computer code that exists behind the scenes in social media, and exposes that the way those work is that they take the inputs that we give them and they feed us more of it. So if you click on some cat stories, you're going to get lots more cat stories. If you click on a certain political view, you're going to get lots more information about that political view. The way these algorithms work is they take the version of ourselves that we show online and they make us more like that. They exaggerate, they emphasize, they invite us down rabbit holes to grow in those things. Now, the problem is that the things that we do online aren't often the best parts of ourselves. We get sucked into rabbit holes. My family watches this TV show called Suits, and one of the actresses is Meghan Markle, who's now married to Prince Harry or something like that. And the other day I clicked on a story about Meghan Markle's opinions about this or that. I don't really care about what Meghan Markle thinks about this. That's not something that really matters to me, but I saw something and I was drawn to it and I clicked, and now these algorithms say, give him all sorts of stuff about this because that must be what he likes. So see, a lot of times when we go online, we pursue our most shallow interests, fashion or sports or gossip, or some of our sinful interests. We look at pornography or other stuff that's going to damage us. And so because those are the things we do online, because we kind of let ourselves go when we go into social media, we get more of that. But what if you said, well, how can I use those algorithms to actually fuel my spiritual growth? What if you said, I'd really love to know more about poverty work in Africa. Well, great, follow some people, click on some articles. Social media will give you more. I'd really love to know more about missionaries. Great, follow some, click on some articles. Social media will give you more. I'd like to learn more about patience or love or grace or this theological topic. Great. These tools that social media has built can actually fuel us, can actually give us, can actually help us become the kind of people we want to be if we use those algorithms to fuel our spiritual growth. I chatted with a woman who worked at Twitter, and she said this: companies are really good at figuring out what works to keep people doing things over and over again. It's basically the job of social media. But she said you can use that knowledge to do something positive. The more good content you watch, the more good content you'll get in return. You can redeem social media by using it as a tool for your spiritual growth. My second suggestion is that you can use social media as a tool for Christian community. Now you might say, well, we all already do this, right? I mean, we all already do it to hang out with people and build a community and interact. But I think we probably don't necessarily do it in the way that we know how to do Christian community. We know there are some things that are critical about forming deep relationships, about really getting close to people. And those aren't the ways we tend to interact on social media. I think sometimes we show our worst selves when we come to social media. We treat people differently than we would treat them if we were there face to face. But what if we came to social media thinking about, with knowing in mind how God calls us to relate to other people, to be patient, to be loving, to build people up. If you see somebody not involved, to invite them in, to pay attention to that person on the fringe. What if we prayed for each other or studied the Bible with other people on social media? What if we used social media as a tool for genuine Christian loving community? What kind of ideas could you have? Maybe there's a group for incoming King's Academy students. Maybe there's a group that's praying for teachers. Maybe you build a Bible reading plan group or a group to brainstorm service ideas. What kinds of communities could you build online that are really reflective of what it means to be a Christian community? Third suggestion and my final suggestion. First thing is to use social media as a tool for your spiritual growth. Second idea is to use social media as a tool for Christian community. And finally, you can use social media as a tool for ministry. Because of the possibilities that social media opens up, there's so many cool things you can do. A friend of mine is the evangelism coordinator for InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. It's a ministry that reaches out to college students. And what he does is he builds online tools for evangelism. And he told me this story about Cole. Cole was a sophomore. He's at a college in Montana. And Cole hated social media. He thought it was just the worst thing. He wasn't on anything. But he went to a retreat and he heard somebody speaking about using social media for ministry. And he felt like God was calling him to have a social media account for the sake of ministering to people. So he kind of reluctantly said, okay, God, I'm going to do this. So he went on, he created an Instagram account. And in the course of a month, Cole followed 3,000 people on Instagram and DM'd all of them to say one simple thing: how can I pray for you? 3,000 strangers, he just followed them and he said, hey, how can I pray for you? In the course of that month, he got 326 replies. People asking him, hey, I'd love for you to pray for me in this way. And then he could follow up with them. And then he was meeting with Angelo, my friend, and he said, I need a system. How am I going to pray for 300 people? How am I going to do this? So in a month, Cole went from hating social media to needing to come up with a system for how to pray for hundreds of people that he met online. See, we can use social media to do different kinds of ministry than we've done before. What kind of ministry could you do online? Maybe there's a student worship night on Instagram or Facebook or something. Maybe you guys make a video. Maybe you've seen this Bay Area blessing video. A bunch of churches come together and sing a song and mix it all together. Maybe King students could do that. Or maybe there's a Twitter blitz where you blitz out the Christmas message on Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter or something. There's all sorts of ideas. What could you do? How could you use social media for ministry? Redeem social media by making it a tool for ministry. Well, I want to just wrap up and just kind of remind you of some of what I've tried to say. See, I think that technology is often gets a bad rap. Personally, I love technology. I think it's fun, it's exciting. I love to see how things are moving in the future. And I am completely convinced that God created us with this drive to be creative, to create things, to extend our capabilities. Technology is part of that drive that God has put within us. We were created to create. And absolutely, technology has some downsides. It has some dangers. But because of what God has done, because of the gospel, because we believe in redemption, we have to believe that God can take some of the even dangers of technology and use them for his purposes. So I've offered 3 ways that you might be able to do that. You can use social media as a tool for your spiritual growth. You can use it as a tool to build authentic Christian community. You can use social media for ministry. I'd love to hear if some of this takes off, if people have ideas how this goes. Feel free to let me know, or some of the King's teachers will, but I think you're going to have some discussion now where you're able to talk about some of these ideas and perhaps brainstorm how God can use you and social media for his purposes. Thanks. It's been great to be here. Amen.